Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 5 of the Amanda Natando Show. I'm Amanda, and thank you guys for watching. This season will have a totally different vibe as we go topical and will be focused on cherishing the men in every aspect, from their mental health to their emotional and social well being, which will eventually unpack my journey in the last 2 years towards the end of the season. So don't miss any episode for you to understand my journey with the help of my phenomenal guests who will shed light through their journeys as well, which will eventually make sense towards the end of the season. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. Simbarashe Kaparipari, Eskay, also known as DJ Wangu. He's a creative mind, radio personality, music producer, sound designer, podcaster, animator, and lover of life and simple pleasures. He was born and bred in Zimbabwe, now based in the United States. So already you know this season is about, well, in case you didn't know, actually, because I kind of surprised you on the invite, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, so it is actually focused on cherishing the men. And the one thing that caught my attention was your post.
Okay.
As much as it was a general post,
hmm
which you eventually said, you know what, as this was just a general post and hoping to, motivate, inspire other people who may be going through tough times and just encourage them, right? But
Yeah.
I guess maybe because I am focusing on the men, I saw it being a message for them to a certain extent, right?
Sure.
So then I was
Yes.
like, you know what? As a radio personality,
hmm
and having been in this field and having, of course, you've probably also had to do a couple of topics with people here and there and stuff like
Yes.
that. And I thought you would be the best person to explore this topic as well. You're cherishing the men.
Yeah.
And if we're ready to explore that, I will start off by reading the post
Okay.
for our viewers and our listeners. So the post that actually captured my attention was, Andy, sometimes circumstances in our life causes us to become unfocused, overwhelming feelings of dread and loss of hope. Like when I started hearing that, I was like, okay, I need to read more. Right? I'm thinking about women can talk about these things. And then it went on to say, those times may feel never ending.
hmm
It feels as though this is life's path for us. It
hmm
doesn't end. Those deep, pitted feelings of despair do go away in time. Looking up, praying, and leaning on one's faith can give us the strength we need to continue down the path.
hmm
I found those times, no matter how hard it was. Actually, the part where you said, I found those times, I was like, this is from a male's perspective, so let's do it. So you said, I found those times, no matter how hard it was. Faith gave me internal strength I never knew I had. Life is rough at times. I found through faith, it is beautiful too. Seeing beauty through the darkness and watching the sun rise again makes my heart beat more openly, and I see joy in the little.
hmm
So, does it a bit? Oh, sorry, in the little things. Sorry. So it's those glimmer of hope that forges one ahead. For
Uh-huh.
anyone living through rough times, sorrow lasts through the night. Remember, joy will come in the morning. It's a period of your life. It may seem unfair. Find purpose in it. I found my faith pulled me up and made me whole again. I
True.
found my purpose, which is a huge blessing. Sending hugs to whomever needs it today. And
Yes.
I found that to be so personal, honestly, especially having to say, I found this. I
hmm
went through the darkest moments, but guess what? My faith kept me going.
Yeah.
So let's explore that message.
All right. Well, so that message for me was it was almost a defining moment, if I could say that.
Mhm.
Um, I had gone through like really dark path,
Mm,
like a really unusual space in my life. I don't know if you know, but I always, like, in some of my posts, I always have a hashtag that says "Find Your Escape."
mm,
So the escape for me is a place where you kind of switch off the world. You are 100%, happy. Nothing matters. Nothing touches you.
mm,
So for most men, uh, that place is a a bar. For
mm,
some men, that place is at a girlfriend's house. For
mm,
some men, that escape is somewhere they shouldn't be. But for me, though, I kind of found that space in drinking. Drinking was my
mm,
escape.
mm,
I
mm,
didn't I didn't even realize that it was really starting to affect me to that level. Like,
mm,
we'll turn up and everything, but for me, it became my escape. Like, from
mm,
all the dramas, like I had so many things going on in one time.
mm.
But alcohol, for some reason, it just kind of, it saved me. Like, I would drink whenever we go into a gathering with people I don't want to talk to, just so I could kind of be open to them.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you talk about people you just don't want to hang out with. You find your escape that way. Or you've had a fight with the madam, right? At the
Mm,
house. I lock myself in the studio and I'm just drinking by myself. So that to me is what really was the defining moment for me was you need to find your true escape, like that one place where you're not damaging yourself, but you're in a place where you're just, free.
mm.
And faith was one of those things that really got me through some of those really dark days. My faith, being a Christian, I don't really publicly like put it out there like, hey, I'm a Christian over here.
Mm, mm.
Going out church hymns with Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Ndakazonzwa ukuthi inonzishweni the extremist. The extremists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yes. So I'm not that guy. I tell you on social media to just say, be a fly on my wall every day.
Mm,
I'm actually a very private person.
mm,
I try to never put out too much on social media.
mm,
So that day when I posted that, it was actually a defining moment where I was like, you know what? I think I found my escape. I found the one place where I feel the most happy, the most alive. And that place was through my faith
mm,
as well as music,
mm.
because music is who I am. Um, so that really was what inspired that post. Just to kind of, because I knew or I thought someone else out there might be going through a same situation. And I was like, you know what? Find your escape, find comfort in, your faith.
Mm.
But also, if you could find something else, it's going to be good for you.
You said something that made me come up with the question right now, where you
Mhm.
said, I am a quiet person, right?
Yes.
As an individual,
Hmm.
you're an introvert. And as a man, you guys don't share. You understand? Like, you don't go out. This is exactly what I am trying to bring out to our men out there, even to the
Hmm.
ladies, because I know we have this whole. I've also read Brene Brown's book where it says women, we have this whole thing where we ask men to be vulnerable, and when they become vulnerable,
Yeah.
we start, talking them down. You understand? So, and
Yeah.
hence the reason why you guys don't share as much. But when you had this moment to share such a vulnerable message, I would
Hmm.
call it vulnerable because at the end of the day, as much as you didn't share in detail, in
Hmm.
specific, you've kind of did. You kind of did, because there
I
was a
did.
moment where you said, I had, I was once in a dark space.
I
But,
was.
I was in a dark space. And it's okay to express once in a dark space. But at what moment did you figure out, Kuti, oh my gosh, alcohol is my escape route right now? And how do I slow down? Because it takes somebody else to see it. But how did you get
All
to,
right.
yeah.
It's a funny story,
Mhm.
but I'm going to tell you. When I realized that this was my escape was when I set myself down and I was like, every time I'm around people, and this is not even at a party. Do you understand? This
Okay.
is like anyone. Like if I'm gonna be visiting my in-laws, or if I'm gonna be, I felt like I needed to just be a little buzzed.
Mm,
So that's one. And
yeah.
then the other thing was I started to forget shit. Oh, am I allowed to
Oh,
say
you're
things?
you're allowed to be yourself. You know what I like? You know what's funny? I like that. I like that because on my show, apparently, I've
Yeah.
always been like I want people to be themselves. And I'm a
Okay.
radio personality as well. So radio is different. You know it.
I do.
You have limitations and stuff. And some people come on radio. The last time I interviewed what Cap City. Cap
Uh-huh.
City swears, you know that.
Yeah.
And Capsule was like, "Am I allowed to?" I'm like, "This is my show. Let's do it." But it was radio, right? But then,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want people to be themselves. Just be you. Just be you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the me, first of all, I don't sweat that much, but on occasion it's gonna come out.
Okay, kind of wrong butter. It's okay.
Because you know what kind of trying bad.
Not kind of wrong butter where you need to express yourself a little deeper. I have those moments too. I get you. I get you.
So on that note,
Yeah.
I was saying one of the most defining moments was when I found out that um I started to forget stuff.
Mhm.
Like you wake up in the morning, you forget you texted who, you forget you had a conversation with who, and someone's texting you and saying, "Hey, how about, you promised me you would send me cash." And I'm like, I don't really remember this conversation.
But then because you were buzzed, you were not in your right state. Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember telling you I'm into you, which I probably did say
Mm-hmm.
because I was buzzed. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting stuff. That is a bad sign. So in that moment, I was like, you know what? This has to change. But the changing for me was not so much to say, let's just stop drinking. No, it was about really understanding what is the cause for me to be finding my comfort or my escape in that space.
Okay. Okay.
So for me, it just became a case of, you've got to change a few things in your life. You've got to kind of, you know, and at the same time, I was going through a very difficult path, like very difficult stage in. Are you married?
No, no, not yet. Oh, and the way and that jamuga, I want. No, it's because I see how people are trying to get out when other people are trying to get in. So it's kind
it's
of scary, but no,
it's not an easy
not
it's not
yet.
an
Not
easy
yet.
space to be in. I'm
Yeah.
telling you today, it's a very difficult space, and this is something they don't tell you.
Mhm.
Like the advice you get is, marriage is tough, but you can hang in there. You can,
Mm,
but they don't really give you like how tough it is.
it
Like
is.
there's no scale to really explain how difficult that space is. Because to me, it's like the biggest social experiment that ever was in my
Mm,
mind. That's how I define it.
that's how I define
Because you're bringing two people from totally different
different
worlds,
backgrounds.
and you're saying, you know what, make it work. Zvikanetsa imomo enda kuna tete vako vachakutsiura vachakudzidzisa izvi chaita. No, because tete doesn't know my situation. She's never been in this particular situation. So
And say maybe to chip out that example,
mhm,
Kuti, as much as maybe Tete is there to advise and whatever,
yeah,
you may have had a traumatic experience as a child, wega, as an
there you
individual.
go.
That Tete would never understand.
She would never know.
she'll never know because, first of all, as a man, you wouldn't be able to express that. You find it to be embarrassing. And
Yeah,
then, second of all, but how can Tete understand? She's not a
that's the
man,
thing.
right?
Not even so much about her being a man. I'm talking about, let's even go further and say, in this moment,
Mm,
Tete has not been in this situation, in these circumstances.
mm,
She has no clue what it feels to be in this particular position I am today. So Tete becomes irrelevant. And trust and believe, all the advice they will give you is extremely generic. It's like one size fits all.
yeah.
It's like, Tauranai, no, this
Not later,
situation.
Simba. I've experienced I was sorry to give an example in this moment.
Mhm,
I've experienced like exactly what you're saying,
mhm,
where I've gotten to experience three forms of abuses.
mhm,
Um, at the moment that I saw somebody
mhm.
going through one form of abuse, which was physical abuse, it
Yeah.
was easy for me to understand it. You understand?
Mhm,
Easy for me to say, no, this is unacceptable. I've been there. If you stay in there, you're giving them the power to keep doing it. Period.
mhm,
You need to
mhm.
get out. And then you see somebody who's had a very loving husband. They grew up Vainejese, spoiled
Mhm.
family, spoiled whatever. You're the only daughter. You get out there. The next thing you do after school, you get your career, and you marry a very loving husband. Right? You've never experienced abuse. You don't know what abuse is, and
Yeah,
you probably look at abuse as monarchitiza.
yeah,
Let's start from. Do you understand?
yes.
And then now, somebody who's going through it, you've never experienced it, you'll never understand. And I
No,
get you.
no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you
Yeah.
do get me, because actually in one of my next in one of my episodes that I want to do on my podcast, I want to talk about how we sort of, when it comes to mental health, it feels like we just put everyone in the same box. But the things that are affecting us mentally are going to be totally different
Mhm.
every time.
Mm.
Like I told you, my situation was my marriage, alcohol abuse. Um, those are some of the two things. Maybe I won't talk about too much, but all I'm saying is there are differences. Someone is going through depression because they are in a bad financial state. So
Mm.
these things are going to be different
Mm.
for everyone.
Mm.
But the thing is, we've kind of put everyone in the same box
Mm.
to say, okay, if it's mental health, then it's mental health.
Mm.
Uh, you need to individualize. Each person is different. What they're going through is different. Whether it's
Mm.
in marriage or whatever, it's different and it's personal and really specific to them
Mm.
and their situation.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is that people kind of put everyone in the same box, which they should not, because
Mm.
we're all different.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, excuse me, speaking of which, let's talk about your podcast that you've highlighted right now, Find
Okay.
Escape, right? What prompted you to start it? And at what, like, was it the moment that you're like, you know what? And what is it all about? Let's start with what is it all about? Yeah.
Well, my podcast really has nothing to do with all this. To be honest, for me,
Mhm.
it was I'm so passionate about legacy.
Mm.
For a very long, for most people who know me, even when I was still doing radio back in Zimbabwe, I was doing a lot of legacy stuff, like old school music. But at the same time, I wanted to preserve a legacy for those artists that I kind of profiled on my show.
Mm.
But for me, it became a point where I was like, you know what? When I'm dead and gone, I want there to be a record of my thoughts, a record of my philosophies, a record of my life lessons. And this really was prompted by my daughter, to be honest.
Aw.
She kind of inspired me to just, create random conversations that in 20, 30, 50 years from today, she will listen to and say, okay, my dad was kind of wise, hopefully.
Kind of wise. My dad was wise.
So quite honestly, everything really revolves around my daughter. She's turning 4 in 2 months.
Oh,
Um,
shout out to her.
so she's my everything. She's my life. She's all I live for, to be honest. And she really inspired me to just say, you know what, I want there to be something out there that should I, because life is not really guaranteed, right?
Mhm.
Tomorrow you could wake up and it's gone. So I want there to be some kind of record where she can say, my dad was talking about things he's learned in life, things he's experienced in life. So that podcast is more, it's just a personal, let's call it a diary, if you like. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a diary of me, pretty much.
I like
So
that. And
yeah,
definitely, guys, we need to go and check out his podcast because another thing I like about podcasts is they can teach us through somebody's life experiences, right?
yeah,
And even from your message where you mentioned Kotijana, I have been in a dark space, but
yeah,
I managed to come out of it. And it's possible
yeah,
to come out of it. But I did it this way. You understand?
yeah.
Somebody may not know how to get out of it, but hearing somebody say it's possible can
Yes,
actually encourage them to say, let me explore it in that way.
absolutely. I
Right.
want to I want to also kind of add to that because the coming out of that space
Mhm.
is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not as easy as people might assume.
Mm,
It's a process. It's difficult,
mm,
and there are gonna be some casualties along the
mhm.
way. Um, I want to put this on record, like
Yep.
on your show, to say I regret some of the decisions I made while I was in that space. Um, I ended some friendships I probably shouldn't have. Um, very good friend of mine. We had been friends for so long, but because I was in that space and they just didn't understand me, I my frustrations kind of took over me, and I was like, you know what, I can't be friends with you, and I couldn't
But it's
see.
fair to say, though, that I'm not putting anything on anyone.
Mhm,
I've had a situation where when I needed somebody as a friend like that,
mhm.
is you need to understand me through the tough times.
Yeah,
Or how did you just say, you know what, done, 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 like stay
yeah.
out?
For me, it was almost like what you're saying. Like, you're in a space and you expect them to understand. You expect them to hear you out, at least just hear me out. But some of these friends just they don't understand it.
Mhm.
I'm telling you today, like, if you're ever in a dark and really, really dark space, and the friends you call your friends don't recognize it,
Mm.
don't come to your DMs or whatever, call you to say, Sha, I think, I just want to talk to you. Are you okay? If you don't have friends like that, those are not your friends.
And that's exactly what my dad used to tell me, and life has taught me a lot.
Mm,
You know, I grew up being a people's person, like
hmm.
group leader. You know, I was that kind of kid. You know, group
Yeah,
leader, and I was the one who would, just befriend everybody.
yeah.
That has always been me. But my dad, every time I remember, I was rebellious. The reason why I delayed this whole and kids and whatever is because I was afraid to see me. You
Hmm.
understand? I was rebellious to the point of running away from home because I didn't want to go to boarding school. That bad,
Wow.
you know. As a woman, but funny enough, when I look at me now, I'm like,
Yeah.
but I turned out okay. You know,
Hmm.
I have a rebellious side, but I can't say it was rebellious just to not. Oh my god! But it
Yeah.
was the phase, the age,
Yeah.
the. So I remember the one statement my dad always said.
Hmm.
Up until now, I live by it.
Yeah.
The one time Yandagatiza Kumba, going to my twins' friend, my friends were twins, went to Belvedere. I'm like, I'm not going to boarding school, blah, 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 blah,
Hmm.
blah. It was Bundu, from town to Bundu.
Yeah.
That's how much I'm scanning. And I. And I'm like, I'm not cutting my hair. I'm not from QE to JZ. Hell no. I'm not doing that. Like it was just the opposite. I'm thinking 12 kilometers from the main road. I've never been Kumusha. I was just panicking.
Wow.
And then I ran away the weekend that I was supposed to go orient the school, at least, or
Hmm.
whatever. Only for when I came back, my dad sat me down. His statement was, if I know I'm not scared, I'm cheating shamari things.
Hmm.
You realize that's a shamari zako. You know your true friends when
Hmm.
you will know your true friends when something is not right.
Yeah.
Right now, you have it all. You understand? And I'm not going to lie to you. I eventually went to that school, and that's the best school I've ever gone to because
Mm.
I saw the other side of life. I grew up with everything. Simba. Like,
Yeah.
I ended up appreciating good. Oh my gosh, my parents
Hmm.
are good life. Didn't school fees, didn't chakati, vani mainfo makabvaruka. And
Yeah.
I'm taking life for granted. That's how I changed my mindset. Thank God I was that kind of kid. You understand?
Mm.
Because some people don't realize it that this whatever. That's okay. But for me, I have this self-assessment every time, everywhere I go. What did
Hmm.
I learn from this or whatever since I was a young girl. So
Yeah.
when I saw when he gave me that statement, sometimes it took me a while to understand it
Yeah.
because I ended up having this whole I was afraid of losing people. People would think I don't get along with people a lot. People would think kuti zvone, "Hey, Amanda, minetsana nevanhu People would think kuti, and by the way, I am vocal. I speak
Mm.
my mind. I'm not one person who just looks at things and say, okay, that's all right. I'm one person who will tell you, no, this is effed up. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
And move away. So I had this thing in my head where people would think that taurisa. People would think but if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. You
That's it.
understand? And
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point where when I think of my dad's wisdom, I'm like,
Mm.
oh, he was right. You'll
Yes.
find people who are not meant for you or who come in your life for a reason, some
Yeah.
people for a season, and some people are there to stay for a lifetime. And
That's
you
it.
better be able to recognize those people.
Yeah. In my previous episode, I was actually talking about friends you need to keep, like friends that need to stay in your life.
Yeah.
But the one before that, I was talking about, ending friendships and all that. And
Mhm,
like I said, in this space that I was in,
mhm.
I ended some friendships. Some really needed to end.
Yeah.
That's
And it's
true.
okay.
And, that's probably also one of the things that I kind of needed to work through to say it's okay for
Mhm,
people to go. It's
mhm,
all right. So for a moment, it affected me in a big way.
mhm.
But eventually I was like, it is what it is.
Actually, if you don't mind, can we get into in what way did it affect you? Because those are the tiny things
Yeah.
that, you know, people aren't able to express. You know,
Okay.
okay, it affected me in this in a way, but
Well,
how? Because I think with what I'm trying to bring out is I want our men to be human. I
mhm,
want our men to know it's okay to express themselves, not to be vague. I want our men to be able to say, you know what, I am not okay because of
yes.
ABCD.
All right. So how did it affect me? First of all, I don't have that many friends.
Mhm,
I'm like I said, I'm more of an introvert. Like I just learned a new word probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Introverted extrovert.
extrovert. Yeah, I learned that too.
I've adopted that so much, and I was like, this is really who I am because you can find me in this space by myself, and I'll be having the time of my life. I'm happy being by myself. But if I need to be out there with other people, I'm going to be okay. And this is not something you would expect from a DJ, right? A DJ, you would think he's such a people person. I'm not. you know, um,
Really?
like I said, people would never
Thank God I
know.
managed to get you.
Yeah. People would never know that this guy is actually very reserved, very quiet. He wants to keep to himself.
Yeah.
People would never believe me if I told them because to them, you're a fucking DJ. So You
Oh,
people
trust
talk.
me, I've heard those. I'm an actress. I'm a
Yeah,
talk show host.
yeah.
I'm a DJ, whatever.
Mm,
But when people say, "So Amanda, would you be okay?" And the one thing I've always told them,
yeah.
no one will ever know my social life unless I tell you.
Hmm.
And people are like, Amanda, that's impossible. I'm like, trust me, that's possible. Do you
There you
understand?
go.
Because I choose what I want you guys to
I
know.
want you to know whether it's true or not.
Whether
I'm
it's
going to
true or
give
not,
you what I want to give
I'll
you.
give you what I want to give you, you know? So, like, but then if you can share everything, why not your social media? I'm like, because I don't want people prying in it.
There you
That's
go. There you go. That's the I've adopted that philosophy in my
it.
life to say I don't want people involved in my personal life.
Mm.
Like, why
Why?
do you need to know that? Like, what?
Mm.
I've lied to people. I'm going to say it on your show.
Mm.
Someone came to me not so long ago
Mm.
and was like, um, I don't see you post your wife anymore. Are you guys divorced? You know what I told them? I told them, yeah, for 3 years now. We've been divorced for 3 years.
Oh shit.
And guess what? This girl actually had interest in me.
Oh, shoot your shot, baby.
She was
Okay.
like, so what happened? You guys, oh my gosh, you were so cute together. Oh my gosh. And in my mind, I'm just like, come on, like, why is that information?
Yeah.
Why do you need that?
Why do you need that information?
Let me
Yeah.
tell you, social media, what it has taught me is that people have got this online courage that we never had back in the day before
That's it.
social media. You would not just step up to any person to just ask them, you're gaining weight. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You
Mhm.
would never. That would be such a very uncomfortable conversation. But for some
Simba,
people,
ndakangonziwa DM, no hi, no ndeipi, no how are you?
uh,
Question was, are you married? Period. In my mind, I'm like, I don't have time to be answering that. Like, help
there
me
you go.
understand. Like, what is it to you? Like, that was no hi, no ndeipi.
Nothing.
Ah, kukanada kurutonda kana kurupisa. No.
And
Are you married?
could was square was saying,
Yeah,
Shamari.
yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah.
say, never.
And
So that,
somebody that you used to talk to. Keep in
mm,
mind, somebody I used to talk to, we were so close, like so,
mm,
but distance and whatever, life happened. And
yeah.
from nowhere, are you married?
So yeah, social media has. It took me a while, but
Mm.
now I know that I don't want to put my life out there for
Yeah,
everyone to see.
yeah.
But to answer your question, like I was saying, I don't have that many friends.
Mm,
So how that affected me was, losing a friend when you already have very few
mm,
is a thing. It's very tough because you kind of grow to depend on that person to a level. You kind of grow to share your life with that person. You tell them everything. You share your struggles, your dramas, everything.
mm,
So for it to just end like this, it's a I don't know if I can call it traumatic experience, but
mm,
it's tough.
mm,
So that's one of the things I kind of went through um, when that happened. Um, yeah, I guess that's really the main thing. Like just losing friends when you already don't have that many. Because in this day and age, so many people are so fake. There are not that many real people out there. So when you find a real one, or at least someone you think is real, it's
mm,
hard when you then have to let them go because you then eventually realize, no, this one, not so much.
mm,
So I can count my friends like right now. Like people would assume because we're in the public, we're in media, people would assume I have thousands of friends.
mm.
No, I'll tell you right now, people I legitimately call my friends are probably 5 people, if not less.
You know what's funny though? I value loyalty
Hmm.
above everything. And it's funny, I did a show. You heard our producer who's producing the show right now
Yeah.
invited me on a different set, on somebody else's set. And I got to interview people. I got to interview more than 40 people, if not 50, in
Hmm.
the space of 4 hours or whatever. And then I caught COVID. That's how I caught COVID.
Yeah.
Because I'm a
Okay.
touchy person. Like I told you, I love people. Like I was hugging everybody. I forgot we're still in a pandemic. um,
Yeah.
but to get to the point, the one thing, there was one question that stood out for me,
Yeah.
which was, what do you value in a friendship?
Hmm.
A lot of people, I thought I was the one that set lots of expectations on my friends or the people around me. And
Hmm.
everybody, majority, not everyone, I can say 90% was loyalty.
Wow.
You understand? And
Hmm.
to me, I'm like, it makes sense. And
Mm.
that's for me, because what is a friendship or a relationship without trust?
Yeah.
Right? It's as good as what is a marriage or relationship, romantic relationship without trust,
True.
right? And another thing that one of my friends once asked me was, how come you're able to travel alone? Excuse me? I've learned to love my company. I have learned that. People come and go into your life.
Hmm.
I've learned. So, believe me when I say I can go to a club on my own. I can do that. Because guess what? Why should I wait for people to be happy? Why should I wait for somebody to come
To
and
get
put
in the mood.
into, you understand? To get in the mood and say, oh my gosh, I want to go out and whatever. And somebody, and funny enough, the same people, I was like, you know what? I enjoy my company. I like taking long drives to the mountain on my own. They're like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, that is so sad. I'm like, no, you know what's sad? What's sad is you waiting for somebody else to fulfill that.
There you go.
How about going to skydiving on my own? What if I don't meet that person who will take me for skydiving, and then I will regret not going for skydiving because
There you
like, you
go.
know what, Simba? I love my company. And I'm at
Hmm.
a point where when I hear people say, ah, we are not me, but when you hear people talk about, Digi, Simba doesn't have friends. I'm thinking, dude,
Yeah.
you're the one who probably has fake friends. Let's start from
Yeah. Let's start right there.
there. I'm
Yeah. How
thinking,
about that?
dude, social media is it's got positive vibes too.
Of
Don't get me
course.
wrong. Social media, like when I read your post, that's what made me say, you know what? I want to talk more. I want us
Hmm.
to get that's something positive, and it
Hmm.
brings positive energy out there, you know.
Yeah.
And then there are negative vibes where people want to compete with
Yeah.
people and say, why is Simba doing that? I also want to do it. I want to do it better. Why is that? You understand? People take things however way they want to take things, be it good
Yeah.
or bad. You understand? But then
Yeah.
now we live in a world where people are fake.
Oh my
People think,
goodness.
people have this
It's
whole thing. I can do this. I can do that. I can. I don't know why. I don't know why.
it took me a while to learn that lesson. It took me a while, and
Yeah.
just like everything else, people learn things at different paces at different times. So for me, it took me longer than it should have, but
Mm,
eventually it got in. Like I got it
mm,
because I'm looking at what social media does.
mm,
Um, for a period of time, I was doing like Instagram live videos and talking to people. Um, in fact, this is really where my turning point was,
mm,
because with that, it's when we're growing up, pani statements I tell one the kuonererwa nevanhu, like
What to
masiso
do?
evanhu.
Mm,
Social media is like 50 times that. Whatever they were teaching us back then, we didn't realize it. But now I know when you're in like the public view, you kind of just do extra. You just kind of go beyond your normal.
mm.
So
Out of character, so to
that's
speak.
the thing exactly.
Yeah.
So it happened for me, and it happened with me and one of my friends, and I realized it, and that's really, really maybe what prompted me to say this friendship might need to end, because in the public eye, this person would um, just kind of want to just shame me or
Wow.
make me feel less of a man. Um, it was really terrible. But
Mm.
then I had to learn the lesson. It was a hard lesson to learn, but I had to learn it and realize that okay, maybe this is not the person I should be hanging out with. Because what you do in public really tells me more about who you are as a person versus what you do. Because back in our private space, you're all lovey-dovey, you're good, you're a great person, but come to the people, you become this animal that I cannot recognize. So if you have friends that do not behave or act the same way they do in public as they do in private, that's not your friend.
It's not even, you know what's funny? It's not even just in friendships,
Hmm.
even relationships. Some
Oh
people
yeah.
do that,
Oh yeah.
which is so unfortunate.
That is true. That is true. A lot of people ask me, like, maybe I shouldn't talk about this one.
But we shouldn't put names. This is where we try to get information out of people. No basa rangu. Tukumbura kuti tingoti twasisa taure mazita.
Because people are so
Example.
concerned. People are so concerned about my
Mm,
life and my marriage. A lot of
mm,
people ask me that, um, but it's none of your business.
mm.
So all I'm saying is, what I put out there is what I want the world to see, what I want you to know. But it's probably 20% of my entire life.
Mm.
You have no idea all the things I shared with you today in this show. No one has ever heard me talk about alcohol abuse. I've never put it out there on social media, but I don't know why I got the courage to say it today. But I guess it needed to be said, right? Um, so this is maybe an advice to people that what you see on social media, best believe it's not the entire picture. It's probably just a fraction of what people just want you to see. But there's so much more to a person, so much more to who they are, their family, their values, etc. But if you want to have that tunnel vision where you just look at a person on social media and that's all you take from them, then that's a shame.
And it's amazing that you say that because I totally get it when this dating world is some of us single people. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what we go through. Some people get shocked who've been in marriages for, I don't know, 20 years when I tell them this. I've always been this person, like you said. I know people on social media lie.
Mhm.
I know that. But when people say, "When much I say about social media," I'm like, why should I? Like, do you understand? To me, is I
Yeah.
will ask the person what I want to know.
Mhm.
If they lie to me, guess what? Lies do catch up.
Yep.
If they're legit, they're
Yep.
legit. Because what just also, and people have this whole thing, but then social media kind of shows you maybe at least something about.
Mhm.
I'm like, no, I will give you what I want you to see.
That's it.
I will give you what I want you to see. Who would have thought Pastor Devon Franklin and Megan Good would break up or divorce? No one knew.
Because they never would post any of their
Even
dramas
they
on
fight.
social media.
No.
No. I have a crush on Megan Good, by the way, just saying.
I had a crush on Devon Franklin until they broke up. But anyway, I'm just being silly.
I love that woman so much.
A lot of Megan has been a lot of people's crushes, I totally get
She's, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful.
But anyway, as we get back into our our talk today, Megan, shout out to you. We're about to
Yeah.
conclude our show today. But we
Okay.
will love, having to share your story, your journey, DJ SK,
Mhm.
because I know with they have being a public figure is not
Mhm.
easy. There are a lot of things that you can't have out there
Yeah.
because everybody's looking into your life. You
That's
understand?
yeah.
There's certain pieces that you need to put out there and be sure not to leak out there, even if you decide I want to be a rebella. You understand? But you know
Exactly.
what? I am so appreciative of you having to open up that dark side of you because the one thing I am looking for is for men to be able to be vulnerable regardless of whatever. I will give you an example. Pandegenda Kunogans from my lashes, whatever. This lady, one of the ladies in the salon from nowhere, just decided to tell me about the year that she lost her dad. Not today, not last year, but just open up. That's how women heal. We just open up to strangers we don't even know, and da, 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 but that's how we're healing. And I
Mm,
just hope men are able to find that circle of
mhm.
friends. They say, okay, today I
Yeah.
want to talk to Simba. Simba will understand me. Or not even Simba will understand me. I want Simba to listen. You don't
Yeah.
need to understand, but I need to let it out. I need to vocalize it. I need for you to listen.
Oh yeah.
And with that being said, do you think our generation, or rather today's world, is doing a good job at addressing issues in of men's mental health? Because that's one thing that not a lot of people have made time to
Hmm.
do. And so I'm thinking, are we slowly becoming comfortable opening up about going to get checked as men and hearing from a man's point of view?
Um, I think to a degree we are.
Okay.
I feel like it's starting to kind of make sense. The thing is, like I was saying earlier, that mental health has kind of been put in one bracket, like it's in one basket. It's the same for everyone
Mm-hmm.
when it's not. The thing about it, this is why if someone decides to go see like a therapist or whatever, their story is going to be different from the next guy, right? So I feel we're getting to a point of understanding that it exists. Mental health is a thing, and we need to. But the thing is, we sometimes I feel like we're not doing it right because we kind of putting everyone in the same basket. Every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's battles are different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I feel that yes, we are, but maybe not moving as fast as we need to,
Okay.
especially with us Africans, really, like Zimbabweans, because as a man growing up, you're taught certain things that a man is not supposed to do. You're not supposed to cry.
Mm.
You're not supposed to, you know, you're not supposed to be weak. You're not supposed to, those are things that have been kind of put in us, and we live
Don't
a
you need
life
our cards?
exactly.
Mm.
So I feel we just need sort of a mind shift to
Mhm.
understand that things have changed.
Mm.
We're in a different world now. Mental
But check
health.
out even like the high suicide rate in
Oh
Zimbabwe.
yeah. Oh yeah. That would kind of paint a picture for you. That would kind of tell you that this is a very important issue.
Mm.
And I applaud you for having these conversations and talking to like regular people like me about things like this, because it's the regular people really who are going through these things.
Mm.
We only hear about the celebrity or the Mbinga who decided to kill himself, but you never hear about the guy in Chirezi who decided to end his life because he was not happy, you know?
But then you are a celebrity.
Uh, it's debatable.
I wanted to see your reaction of that one. Yeah.
I
But
used to be. I used to be. I
used to be.
know. I know
No,
at
we
one
want to
point,
strip off that title off of, we won't. We
at,
won't.
at one point, I will agree that yes, people really loved me. Yeah, I was the shit.
We still love you.
But those days are
We
gone.
told you
I'm
we don't
just,
love you. Now you are sort of
I'm
jaded.
just, I'm just a regular old guy, just living his
Yeah.
life, and trying to make a few dollars for my daughter, and you know. But yeah, like I was saying, we never hear about the story about the guy who ended his life in Mutoko, ended
Mm,
his life in Cholocho,
mm,
but doesn't mean it's not happening. It
that's
is happening. So I feel, having lived in this country, this is really why I feel we're moving at a slow pace, because I do see how advanced they have gone. In recently, they created a hotline, like there's a 911 for police, and then there's a number, I can't remember the number, but there's a number they created for mental health
oh.
that you can call just to talk to someone. you know I don't believe we have anything that advanced in our country or in Africa. I don't know.
And not even just, the one reason, the main reason. I think we need to talk more, and I think we need to collaborate on this.
Hmm.
I would like to collaborate more on it because my main goal, honestly, is not even just in Zimbabwe.
Hmm.
I've noticed we have so many post abuse organizations for women.
Yeah.
We have so many internationally, you understand?
Hmm.
So many organizations that support women. And I will tell you, let me tell you a shocker, and I hope these people are watching. When I wanted to pitch this show to people in the States, they're the platform for people to pitch their shows and whatever. I told them, you know what? I've come to realize that there's a high rate of men committing suicide, not being able to express themselves, da, 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 da. And I feel like we need to bring that out. We need to, men need to be able to express themselves and whatever. And the response that I got was, who do you think you are trying to represent me? That was from a man. And
Wow.
somebody else was like, I will tell you for a fact, I'm not going to watch your show. And I'm thinking, dude, you're probably going through stuff, but you don't want to express yourself. And that's the reason why I feel I need to do it. I've been
Yeah.
calling for me since before the pandemic, 2019.
Hmm.
And it's been burning inside of me. We need to have those talks, right? And the
Yeah.
more, I thank God Taraji also started these talks, equity, men's mental health. You understand? And
Hmm.
I feel that not a lot of men are able to express themselves out there. And women, as nurturers, we
Hmm.
need to say, you know what, we're gonna help you. We are
Yeah.
gonna help you, however way we can. How
Hmm.
could okay, if we need to create more groups for men, that's
Yeah.
and I remember my ex telling me when I was pitching that to her, when I was just telling him that, she goes, Amanda, you do realize you're in a woman's world and everyone is going to hate you for it. I'm like, well, at least somebody needs to stand up for something. You
Yeah.
understand? At least somebody needs to do that because I don't care whether I'm in a woman's world or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean everybody else has to suffer because I'm in a woman's world. I am for equal justice for men
Hmm.
and women. Have seen that some people do not even know the definition of feminism. They're taking it overboard.
Yeah.
People are abusing the term feminism. I'm a feminist, but I'm not gonna go overboard and say, "Oh my gosh, this is done because I'm a feminist. I'm gonna take it this way." Da, 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 da. We need to look at both sides of
Yeah.
right? So to me, it really frustrates me because out here we're meeting broken men who are not able to express themselves because they have childhood trauma, they have their past, they have all stuff that
Yeah.
they cannot express themselves. But how best can we do that? Start
Hmm.
conversations. It's okay to
Yeah.
express yourself. And then I started watching, my therapist was telling me, Amanda, start watching Men Enough. And there's so many phenomenal men out there who are
Mm.
trying to create these organizations. We're trying to start these
Oh
conversations.
yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay to be human as
Hmm.
a man.
I agree 100%.
And then I read these books where they say women to not all be vulnerable, and then once somebody becomes vulnerable, we shun them. So how then are we helping?
Yeah. We
How
are. We're not helping in that space. Um, I've been called a feminist to a degree because I back when I was like doing radio in Zimbabwe. For me, I wanted to represent women more,
Mhm.
um, and maybe that may have been an oversight for on my part because every topic I talked about, everything I did was entirely or 90% of the time all about women because I wanted to kind of because in my mind, men don't go through shit. In my mind, it's just women who go through all these abuses and all that shit. That was back then. But now that I'm learning and I'm growing, I'm like, we go through stuff too, you know? We also are vulnerable. We also go through stuff. So um, it's a learning curve. I feel like we're just learning every day as we go. But what matters is, are we continuously pursuing it? Is it just a conversation I'm having with you, Amanda, like right now, and that's it? Are you going to have a conversation with the next person and that's it? No. I feel it must be a continuous conversation, a continuous discussion, continuous pursuit of making sure that we at least get to a point where we understand what mental health is for men as much as we want to understand it for women. We continuously do this. This is my sort of a plea to you to say, I love what you're doing. I hope you continue this, not just for this season, because I know this is maybe a season of episodes that you're doing, but I would say this is a great start. Continue to do that because we obviously need it in this world.
Right. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. And you know what? Yes, I started it as a season, and I feel like it's going to be a continuous talk
Mhm.
until we see change.
Yeah.
And because right now, when Bujanda told her earlier on, the high rate of suicide in men in Zim is beyond, you know,
Yeah.
what we could actually think. Who would have thought would Murumacha Mkati? You understand? It's tiny things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely we're gonna have continuous talks. And I wouldn't mind even collaborating with you in that. Because we can know we might even know other people who can bring meaningful conversations
Oh, yeah.
to this, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, regular people. We
Mhm.
don't necessarily need to okay that they try
Yeah.
to be celebrities, but
Yeah. I mean, I feel that that's our downfall as
mm,
social media. We feel like we need to get someone who we call relevant
mm,
to,
be heard.
you know, because at the end of the day, it's all about numbers, right? So, if you bring in someone who's popular, you're going to get numbers for you. But for me, like my podcast, I probably have like 100 people only who listen to it. My radio show, at any given point, I probably have like 50 people or less. My point is, what am I bringing to the world? What am I sharing? Am I sharing this for the numbers, or am I sharing this because I genuinely want to express and share something?
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I really feel like just ordinary, regular people are the best people to talk to, because celebrities are going to bring you what brings them numbers, right?
Yeah.
They want that. They want the vibe. They want to be like, "Ah, ndiri kupisa, ndiri kurira, ndandiri pashow yama, ndandiri kupisa."
I know, I
Yeah.
know.
So,
No, that is so awesome. And thank you so much, DJ SK, for your time
oh yeah,
and even just for your wisdom, because not a lot of people are able to open up about their journeys, and not a lot of people are even able to share how they got through their
hmm,
darkest moments. But then you came and said, you know what, this I've never quite shared,
yeah,
but I am willing to share it on here. And I honestly hope somebody will be encouraged near what you've just shared right now. And you know what? We look forward to listening to your podcast. And I know there's gonna be it's filled with lots of wisdom on there based
mhm,
off of what you've been through.
yeah,
Because Akuskute Journey, what I know is all I need to know, but I
yeah,
also need to learn from somebody else.
absolutely.
But thank you so much.
Oh,
And
thank you.
to
I
our
enjoyed our
listeners
time. I
and our
really
viewers,
did.
thank you so much for being a part of the Amanda Natanda Show Season 5 as we focus on cherishing the men. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave the comments on the comment section, be it on YouTube or on Play Africa TV. We would like to hear your input on how best we can support our men to at least be human, because that is exactly what we're aiming to do. And to those, do you have any last words, Simba, before I say adios?
Last words are, I am sending you hugs, whoever needs them.
Yay! We love them
That's it.
hugs. Thank you so much. And remember, little girls with dreams become women of vision. Take care and God bless you. Mwah. Bye.